Market analysis with the head of Treasury at Nedbank Eswatini, Bongani Mabuza. A very good afternoon, Bongani. Thank you for joining us lamuhla in the afternoon. September kuti timakete dimekahle lomuhla, favoring Eswatini. Looking at our stock markets, currencies, analyzing the US dollar, sibonile tolo ukuthi trader belling 18 emalangeni 90 cents. Namuhla tinombolo dimekanjani sibonje the US dollar, the euro and also the pound.
Thank you so much, Lulu. It's a pleasure to be here, and greetings to your viewers. The markets remain quite volatile. As you rightfully mentioned, the US dollar to the rand was trading at about 18.90 yesterday. This afternoon we are at 19.1660. So the Langeni has lost some ground against the dollar, and this is because of news that we received yesterday out of the US, where we got inflation numbers coming out of the US, which were stronger than everyone expected. And what that means is that it is changing what the market views in terms of interest rate expectations, not just in the US, but also globally. So as you say, the dollar, as I said, the dollar is at 19.1660 this afternoon. The pound is similar, is sort of flat against the Langeni at 24.034. The euro against the Langeni is at 20.5039, which has lost some ground this afternoon. But the story is the same, where the market is digesting the news and is expecting that interest rate expectations might change. So just what the market is pricing in is that interest rate might not come down as fast as they thought they would.
Okay, so the US dollar was trading at 18.90 yesterday. Today it's 19 malangeni. I suppose that's not good for the consumer. Is it not good?
Yeah, that's correct. I think it depends on what the consumer is involved in. If the consumer is an importer, is a net importer of goods, this information just means that goods are going to become more expensive to import. If you were spending 18 emalangeni 90 cents per dollar yesterday, and you're now spending 19 emalangeni 16 cents, it's a difference of 26 cents per dollar. So if you're an importer, it's not good news. But if you're an exporter of goods, then you'll be laughing all the way to the bank as things stand.
Yeah, all right. I think I should move on to equities. Bongani, like spoken nakona ukuthi engabe di perform kanjani this afternoon.
Thanks a lot. I think we are seeing a similar story where the news that is driving markets is really the inflation numbers coming out of the US, and equity markets responded also in line with that. Across the board, if you look at the S&P 500, which is the index that tracks the performance of American companies, or if you look at the FTSE 100, which tracks the performance of British companies, or the JSE All Share Index, the impact on them was generally negative, which is because of the market realizing that we might have higher rates for longer, which tends to be negative to equity markets. The exception being the FTSE 100, which this morning posted a slight gain, but after a decrease after the news broke out yesterday.
Okay, tell us what's happening in commodities. Looking at gold and oil.
Thanks. I'll just start with Brent crude. The price for Brent crude stood at $82.77 per barrel. This is an increase in the price of just about 0.25% since the start of the trading day today. And the price of gold was relatively flat, with a minor decrease of 0.05% since the start of trading today. And I think the story with gold is that we are seeing a stabilization in the price. Yesterday, the price of gold broke the $2,000 per ounce level for the first time in about 2 months. And there was fears in the markets that we might see a continued decrease in pricing. But what we've seen is that there seems to be stability in the price. We will be watching the markets to see if that will hold or that will change going forward.
Yeah, still on markets. I'm just thinking, Banggood's last a few weeks ago, we're going to saw in South Africa, State of the National Address. What impact did it have on the market?
That's correct. So the story of I'll speak to the Langeni or the rand. Has been impacted by the two events in markets. The first being the State of the Nation address and the US CPI data, which came out yesterday. And what we saw, what the market reaction to the State of the Nation address by the President of South Africa was that it lacked information, concrete information on a plan of action by government. And therefore, we saw the rand start to lose ground as a result. And this is a story that happened at the end of last week, at the beginning of this week. And the weakening of the rand or the Langeni against the major currencies was only worsened by the news that we received that we received yesterday. But I'd like to add that what should be interesting is that we're expecting the finance ministers in South Africa first and then in Eswatini to present their budget speeches, and that should highlight the plan of government from a fiscal policy perspective this year, and we should see what government exactly is going to be doing, what they're going to be spending on, what they're going to be doing in terms of taxes, which projects they're going to be embarking on, which should be helpful for markets to digest, to get a sense of where markets are going or where the economy is going.
So speaking of, the budget speech and also Natisa Mele budget speech, can we expect changes at the markets, especially in South Africa, Rand?
Thanks. I think that's an excellent question. We should expect generally a reaction to markets in markets of the change of the budget speech. So depending on whether the government adopts a expansionary or contractionary fiscal policy, we will see how the markets react to that. But I think the interesting thing is that it is an election year in South Africa. It is also an election year in the US and in more than 50% of the world's countries. So it will be very interesting to monitor how the finance ministers and the governments of those countries use fiscal policy during the year 2024 and going forward.
Okay, one last question before I let you go. On the Russia and Ukraine war, inflation lending, does it still affect our markets?
Thank you, Lulu. I think it still does. And this is not made any better by the conflict that we're currently seeing between Israel and Hamas. And the reason this is causing inflation is because it causes supply chain constraints. So it is difficult to move goods between countries, especially with the Russia-Ukraine war, where a lot of the grain and the fertilizer that goes into the world comes out of those areas. And as a result, we are not able to, it affects agricultural markets, it affects food markets and food prices, and it just trickles down. With any conflict in the Middle East would rightfully affect the movement of commodities like oil as a result.
Okay, thank you so much, Bongani.
Thank you.
I hope to have you again on the show next week. And there you have it for market analysis with Bongani Mabuza, who's the head of treasury at Nedbank Eswatini.
Digital helps you make cross-border payments. Human gives you global specialists. Digital allows you to apply for a loan anytime, anywhere. Human connects you to credit experts. Digital puts you in control of your money, while Human connects you to wealth advisors. Digital allows you to freeze, unfreeze, cancel, and reorder your card. Human gives you that personal touch. Digital when you want it. Human when you need it. Get the complete